Hey, Mount Rudmore here, and I am back to talk BB24. For real this time, because I just streamed for about 10 minutes with my microphone off. Oops. Uh, but I ain't gonna let that break my spirit, because the last few days in the Big Brother house have been the stuff of legends. Like, these have probably been the best few days of Big Brother I have ever seen. Um, oh my god. So, the last time I streamed was Sunday, when the plan was in place, seemingly, to nominate Amira and Terrence after Michael and Brittany used the veto on themselves. And, it was looking good, but I was always like, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here because, you know, what if it doesn't work out? You can hear me now. Thank God. Well, that's okay. I don't mind talking about all this again because it's been amazing. I've been so happy these last few days. Don't know what the issue was. I'll tell you what the issue was. I forgot to turn my mic on. It's that simple. It was all me. But you know, before we got to the veto meeting, we won't mention that. Oh, too late. Already did. But before the veto meeting happened, like Michael and Brittany are still on the block. So everyone in this new alliance, the leftovers, they're all playing up that Taylor is about to get nominated. And I'm just like, I love this. They're really going for Oscar Gold here. And I love it. One of my favorites was Joseph, and he was doing it a lot, like especially to Amira, and like he said a lot of things that like he made it seem like he was talking about Taylor, but he was actually most likely talking about Amira, and he was just like he was quietly telling her the truth, if that makes sense. And Amira says that she wouldn't want to sit next to Terrence on the block. Yeah. So speaking of Amira, she just hasn't really checked in with Turner at all. She's just laying back, relaxing. She even says, I can't believe how easy this game is. Like, she is asking for trouble. She's asking to go on the block. I mean, there have been plenty of HOHs over the years that were not actually running the house. Like, someone who was not HOH was running things, like pulling all the strings behind the scenes. Amira thinks she's doing that, but doesn't seem that way. Being complacent. Yes, Amira was being very complacent. And that was part of Pooch's mistake when he was like, hey, you can go ahead, put me on the block so we can get out Taylor. Just they all look at Taylor, they assume she's going, and they get complacent. And it's like, when are you people going to learn? And so Alyssa and Kyle, you know, we already got a little bit of a tease of them being a showmance on Sunday's episode, but like, Alyssa is a walking red flag. And Kyle sees it. He does not want to be in a showmance with her. But he plays along with her and her crush on him, but he's definitely exasperated by her because she is a bit much. And when he's alone with Joseph, He tells them that she needs to go. And like sooner rather than later is like the implication. Oh dear, that sounds very one sided. Yeah, she has a huge crush on him, and he's not really feeling it. Uh, Smell this. We're going to be talking very negatively about him a lot. I almost feel bad for her. Haha, I've been in her shoes. Well, you know, I'm willing to give Alyssa the benefit of the doubt because she's like 23, I think. She's still young. She's still young and dumb. Maybe I can forgive her in a couple years. But anyway, Smelvis really got on my nerves when he was talking about Indy being a have-not. Now, I admit, Indy has not had the best attitude since being a have-not, and I feel like it's probably what has kept her from being part of the leftovers. I feel like she could have gotten in with them, but she's just been acting up too much, and now everyone's kind of getting sick of her. But what Smelvis said was that she's jealous and attention seeking. That's how she's acting. And of course, comparing her to Taylor in that way. He points out that Alyssa is the other have not, but she's like, I mean, he says that she's like unbothered and she's hot, but says Indy is not hot because she's older. Now, here's the thing Indy is 32, Smelvis is 35. He is older than her, and he's saying she's old. Men from another man, let me just tell you right now stop. There's no such thing as man years and woman years, okay? We all age at the same time. Every 365/366 days, we turn another year older, okay? So to act like someone who is actually younger than you is older than you defies logic. And I'm just sick of everything about Smelvis. Like, even his math is sexist. So, yeah, sassy set. Oh, God, I actually hate Smelvis more than Gary from Bully. Haha. Yeah, I didn't think that was possible. Yeah, just so it's out there, Scarlett is a regular viewer of mine, and she watches me play video games too. And I recently played Bully, so that's what that reference is. Just so you know. Now we're in the lead up to the veto meeting, and Turner did something that initially had people like, "What are you doing? Shut your mouth!" But actually ended up having a really amazing ripple effect. He pulls Smelvis aside and says that he's not putting Taylor up. And by extension, Nicole, because Taylor and Nicole are part of this festy bestie twist, and they will be going up. A pair is going up together, like a pair of besties are going up together. He does tell Smelvis, "You're not going up either," but he doesn't say who it is. And I'm just like, you're ruining the blind side here. But what he says is that he doesn't want to pile on to Taylor's mistreatment that she's gotten in the house and tells Smelvis that it was wrong. And he's talking right to his face because he blew up at Taylor the other day. Now, again, thought this was a mistake telling him all this, but the night before, Turner, Kyle, and Joseph, they wanted to see if Smelvis would leak that info. And if like it looked like he had knowledge beforehand, then that could cause the others not to trust him. Like, who's he working with? And I'm just like, this is actually a much more elegant plan than I realized. Like, it's some serious big brain thinking. So feeds go down, and I'm just like, I have plans tonight. Don't ruin my day, Turner. Follow through with the plan. Put Amira and Terrence up. And then the feeds come back, and he did it. He put Amira and Terrence on the block. Now, of course, I'm just excited that Amira is up. Terrence, it's like, wrong place, wrong time, dude. But yeah, he did it. He put them up, and the unsavory elements of the house went into an absolute tailspin. And some of them still are to this day. Like, it is almost 2 days later now. So it becomes apparent that Turner said something about Taylor's treatment in the house. But Amira says, I'm defending Taylor in the diary room. And I'm just like, then you're too convincing of a hater when you're around everybody else, you know? And I think the reason she was too convincing is because it was legit. Mike and Brittany, oh, these two. Also, just like Joseph, going for Oscar Gold. They're like, oh my god, I had no idea. I didn't think that he'd put you and Terrence up. This is awful. Oh no, what are we gonna do? And I'm just like, give them every acting award there is. Every award. Their acting is so brilliant. Yes, it really is. Time will tell if the leftovers will be as successful as the cookout was. But I think no matter what, the leftovers will at least get credit for better acting than the cookout because they're too good at it. Terrence, I was just thinking, dude, you can just sit back the next couple days. Like you got this locked in. Like do the bare minimum. Just be like, I don't want to go home. Like campaign as best you can, but you have a solid 6 votes to stay, and there's going to be 11 people voting. So 6 out of 11 to evict Amira. That's it. She's done. Terrence can be chill. He's not going anywhere. Ha ha. Well, that was my thought, but here's what he said that got me worried. He said that he is willing to go home over Amira. I'm like, dude, you met her 3 weeks ago. You're willing to give up $750,000 for a woman you met 3 weeks ago. You have a wife and kids. You have a DJ business. You have a lot of things in your life that could really benefit from getting that money. As in walk out or get himself voted out. I think he meant get voted out. I don't think he's saying like, nah, I'm just gonna quit. But he's just like he's willing to be evicted over Amira. And I'm just like, dude, why did you come here? Like, if you want that money, you're gonna have to say goodbye to her eventually, so if you like her that much and it's gonna hurt that much, why not just rip the band-aid off right now? No, no, Amira needs to go. Yes, well, my only concern was that Terrence would just get too convincing in asking everyone to let him go home. I mean, dude, you're a bus driver in Chicago. And don't get me wrong, it's a noble career. I could never drive a bus, but I mean, do you want to do that the rest of your life? You get $750,000. You put it into your DJ business, like you can actually like set yourself up for an actual DJing career. Just saying. Uh, Nicole tells Smelvis that she's done worrying about what people think because of what Turner said in his speech. And I'm like, oh, yeah, because you've been so nice to everybody so far. It's like they don't realize that they've been even remotely mean to Taylor. Like they just don't seem to understand. I'm like, Turner hinted at it pretty hard. How much more do you need? Smelvis says that Turner told him it wouldn't go how he thinks. So that's him giving up some of the information that he got beforehand. So we're just waiting to see if the seed that was planted blossoms. And Jasmine, oh Jasmine, she's been in tears the whole time. Like she was in tears for a while after the feeds came back, and I'm just like, yes, let her suffer. Like she has made us suffer with her ridiculous accent. She should be. She's next. LOL. We will get to that. Who subsequent targets have been, but we got a lot of other stuff. But oh yeah, Jasmine said that she just wishes that Turner said something to her. Like she didn't want to be blindsided. Something I hear a lot is that like people are annoyed that there aren't too many blindsides in Big Brother anymore. But like this was a blindside and a half, and it's been amazing to watch. So it's like, excuse me, it's like they should encourage blindsides, you know, because it's just so fun and funny. I can't tell you how many times I've been laughing at seeing some of the things that people who thought they were on top and are now at the bottom, some of the things they've been saying. I have been cracking up laughing. This makes up for the lack of blindsides and then some. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The last really good blindside I saw was season 20, 4 years ago. Uh, it was at 12. There were 12 people left. The two people on the block were Brett and Rachel. And they were both in this very powerful alliance called Level 6. It did have 6 people, but at this point they were down to 5. So a lot of people, like the HOH, wanted Brett out, and the people she was working with wanted Brett out. Well, level 6 had 3 votes, so they had to get 2 other people, because 9 people were voting. They needed 5 to evict Rachel, and they managed to get 2 other people to kind of lone wolves in the house onto their side, and it was 5-4 to evict Rachel, and Rachel stormed out of the house, like just like in such an angry mood. Like she just like, wow, and just grabs her bag and walks out the door. She didn't hug anybody. She didn't say goodbye. She's just out. And in her eviction interview with Julie, she was still in tears. That was the last really good blindside, and it was 4 years ago. So yeah, we've been starving for a blindside. Um, Regarding Turner's comments about mistreatment, Jasmine thinks that he was talking about not her, not Mira, not Nicole, not Smelvis, Indy. The thing about Indy is like the purest chaotic neutral I've ever seen in the Big Brother house. She just doesn't give a F at all. And, it's a blessing and a curse. And unfortunately, this week it's been a curse because, like, being a have not has definitely affected her a lot, which I said before. And she did say something about like wanting to throw soup in Taylor's face after Taylor said some kind of comment about like because when you're a have-not, all you can eat is slop, and I don't know exactly what Taylor said, but Indy kind of interpreted it as like she's just enjoying her non-slop too much, and like she was rubbing it in. I don't know. Like I said, Indy's chaotic, and you get what you get with her. That was her. I saw something on Twitter, but didn't see who originally said it. Yeah, I still haven't quite figured out that situation too much. But either way, it's not who Turner was talking about. I mean, if it was, he could have just put up Indy and her bestie Alyssa. He could have just put that duo up. I mean, Alyssa has done more outright bullying, so But when you do, you can tell me. Haha. Well, we'll see if it makes the episode tonight. Okay, now this is where the seed that was planted, where the roots begin to clutch. Turner told Jasmine that Smellvis knew. Says that he knew, but like Indy says that Smellvis told her he didn't know. And I think it's a case of he knew Taylor wasn't going up, but they're now thinking, like when Turner says that he knew, it's like now they're thinking that he knew Amira and Terrence were going to be the replacements. But Jasmine and Indy talk about this. They like compare notes, and now Jasmine and Indy don't trust Melvis. It worked. He is losing trust in the house left and right. And this is exactly what we want to see, and it's exactly what he deserves because the daily polls, Smelvis has finally moved to the bottom, even below Paloma. Although her comments and refusal to take any accountability for what she said and did in the house, she might make her way back down to the bottom. I don't think she should. I think it should be Smelvis, but either way, I'm just happy to see him finally get a little bit less secure in the game. Oh, that was beautiful. Yep, it was. Mira asks Joseph if he knew, and he denies it, and he hugs her. I'm like, yes, Joseph. Now you're coming back for your acting awards. And he's like, oh, with my luck, Taylor's gonna win HOH and put up me and Monty because Joseph and Monty are another pair. And you know, if Taylor wins HOH, she might do that, but they would be pawns. Two muscular guys like that going for the veto, they have a pretty good chance of winning it. So, like, Taylor, if she won, she put Joseph and Monty up. Like, they're both in the leftovers with her. Like, she could do that. And like, even if they don't win the veto, she has a few other routes that she can take. So, not a bad plan. And then they can put up another pair that they do want to get out. Exactly. And he tells her, Joseph tells Amira that if he wins HOH, he's going to put up Turner and Jasmine to backdoor Taylor. Okay, yeah. I'm understanding more about this game every day. LOL. See? Once you get in, it really hooks you. So yeah, that's what Joseph said he would do. He might put up Turner and Jasmine, but it won't be to backdoor Taylor. I mean, if anything, he'd put up Taylor and Nicole to backdoor Nicole. Monty starts getting in some of his acting skills. He tells Amira, I wanted Taylor out more than anybody. I had no idea this was going to happen. And, he's playing up the bad history that he has with her. And, I find that to be a little mischievous, you know? But I think it was necessary. He's got to cover his tracks and the tracks of his alliance. Like he's telling her this to protect Taylor now. So I I can't fault him for that. So then we get to see some of the leftovers talking to each other, and now we can actually start to see them be genuine. Joseph goes to Brittany. You do what you need to do to cover yourself. I understand that. Yes, absolutely. Joseph and Brittany talk, and he tells her that he hasn't forgotten about Amira making her cry after Brittany gave him information. And he tells her, you deserve to be here. Everyone here at least deserves to feel included. And I said this in my last Big Brother stream. Like, the leftovers have their targets, but they're not like making people feel like they're not welcome in the house. They're still talking to everybody. They're still trying to comfort people. And yes, lie to their faces because they're going to be leaving pre jury. They can lie. Doesn't matter. Bounce all the checks you want. Just hearing Joseph say that, like, everyone deserves to feel included. Thank you. I think he should get the job Amira has lined up with Google, where she's going to be working in diversity and inclusion. I'm like, she is not qualified for that job. Joseph is way more qualified, and he's in law school. What does he know about, like, IT, I guess? They're playing the game respectfully with no trash talk. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind a little trash talk. But when it's personal and not game related, that's when I draw the line. Now we go back to Nicole, and she says that Alyssa threw her under the bus to Turner, and she knows that Alyssa has slipped up before. And now they're starting to think that she caused the blind side. And I'm just like, they're blaming everybody outside of the leftovers so far. Like, they blamed Indy. They blamed Smelvis. Now they're blaming Alyssa. And Nicole goes ahead and confronts her over this. And, as Nicole has shown, she is not exactly super calm under even the slightest bit of pressure, which, has me wondering, did you willingly leave your job as a cop, or were you forced out? That's what I want to know. So after this, Alyssa says that Nicole overreacts all the time, and Amira agrees. She's just like, oh yeah, she's way too emotional. And Indy is now unsure if they can trust her. And Amira says there's no way she didn't know about it if Smelvis knew. And I'm just like, oh my god, that's another one. That's four. Indy, Smelvis, uh, Alyssa, and now Nicole. That is four people outside the leftovers that have been blamed for the move the leftovers have made. I mean, it's perfect. This plan worked better than anyone could have imagined. Like this, the leftovers plan, ever since they got together, has been the equivalent of Heisenberg's master plan in the finale of Breaking Bad. Like that's how elegant and exquisite and beautiful and satisfying it has been. This isn't a plan, it's a work of freaking art. Yeah. Oh, oh, yeah, this one made me happy. Nicole and Smelvis, they had a little bit of a fight. These two who made a final two right away. They're just like, oh yeah, we're gonna be the final two. We're gonna work together. They they go at it a little bit. Nicole says that Alyssa is loose lipped, which she is. But Smelvis asks, how come Alyssa can talk to you and I can't? And she says that she was talking to Alyssa, Amira, and Monty because they were all supposedly blindsided. Of course, Monty wasn't, but she doesn't know that. She just increasingly gets loud and louder and louder. And he's just like, don't yell at me. Go yell at Alyssa. Oh, how the mighty crumble. Yeah. And, Nicole says she wants Amira to go, but she isn't sure she has the votes to make it happen. Like, they actually got the people who are not in this plan to get Amira out. They have shaken them so much that at least one of them is now considering voting Amira out. And then, Nicole and Smelvis, they, like, things eventually cool off and they confront Alyssa together. And, Alyssa apologizes. And I'm just like, Alyssa is actually more guilty of running her mouth than Brittany. Like, Brittany is just trying to play the game how she can, and she just kept getting ratted out. I mean, I think now that she's in the leftovers, she's a lot more secure now and probably feels a lot safer talking game with people. But Alyssa, she was giving that information up to Kyle freely because she had a crush on him. And it's like, you are so bad at this, Alyssa. You really are. She's guilty of everything they were mistrusting Brittany for. At least Britt was trying to play. Alyssa is just thirsty. Joseph comforts Amira, and he assures her it's not over. And he's technically right because there's still a couple days till eviction at this point. It's still not technically over. The eviction isn't until tomorrow. So, technically it's not over for her yet. Nicole and Amira, they're talking, and they just can't figure out who's been talking bad about Taylor. Who could it be? I'm so shocked. I've been nothing but nice to her. Uh, they recall Indy talking about wanting to throw soup in Taylor's face, which, I mean, like I said, Indy been a little bit of a pain the last few days, but I don't think she was serious. I think Nicole would sooner do that than Indy. I mean, I think Nicole would sooner throw a fist, to be honest. And then Jasmine is like, no one else has said anything that vulgar. I'm like, first of all, hearing your accent, like, to me, that's vulgar because of just how excruciating it is to hear. But, like, they've all just been merciless to her. And yes, they've called her the B word. They've called her a monster. I mean, I guess monster isn't technically vulgar, but, it's unnecessary. Didn't someone in the house blame Taylor for Paloma leaving? Yeah, Smelvis did. I talked about that in my last stream. Like, and just, he made that so personal. That was just the lowest of low blows. Alyssa tells Joseph Taylor cannot win the next HOH. Amira has to stay. And Joseph is like, oh yeah, I agree, definitely. And of course, he's lying right to their faces. Oh yeah, of course you did, lol. Estuary, hey. How you been, man? I haven't seen you here in a while. We're just talking about how great everything has been in the Big Brother house the last few days. My love for the show is just reinvigorated. We need hashtag Smelvis elimination party trending when he goes. Wow, you have really caught on to BB Twitter. You have taken to it very, very well, Scarlett, and I'm so proud of you. I'm very busy. How are you doing? I've been well, estuary. Big Brother's making me happy. It's not as hot today as it's been the last few days. I'm just, I'm feeling good. I'm loving the show that I love, which doesn't always happen. I mean, I love the game. It's just I don't always love the show because sometimes like, I mean, I love what the game can be. I don't always love what it is. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's your influence, haha. Oh, well, happy to help. So Amira comes crawling to Taylor because now she knows she needs Taylor's vote. Uh, I couldn't wait for this moment. I couldn't wait for the groveling to start. And Amira's like, I was certainly surprised. And Taylor's like, I expected to go up. Amira's like, if I leave, this will confirm that there is an all guy alliance. And it's like, you know, too little, too late. Maybe next time, if there is a next time, which there won't be because they're never going to bring you back, maybe don't start a female alliance on the basis of hating a female. How about that? You know, you excluded Taylor, now you need her, and Taylor isn't interested. And it isn't an all male alliance. It's a mostly male alliance, yes. It's 5 men, 2 women in the leftovers, but people really aren't that mad, like compared to how you'd expect them to be mad. People usually are like, "Oh God, this many guys in the alliance, boring." But just about everybody hates the women. Not all of them, not all of them, but most of them. And it's like people are like everyone's on board with the leftovers. So then Amira goes to Turner, and she's like, she was caught off guard by it, especially by the bullying comment. Turner denies that he meant her, and he's like, maybe I didn't separate the bullying comment enough from my reason as to why you were going up. Some women in that house are giving the rest of us a bad name. No, I don't believe that's how all women are. Not for a second. I I typically root for the women on Big Brother more often than not, just because usually the men are total bros and they annoy the crap out of me. And there was a lot of that from the guys this season, but they really turned it around. But yeah, Turner tries to deny that he meant Amira by his bullying comments, and yeah, I mean he's probably just trying to deflect just in case she does end up staying. I mean, I couldn't imagine if she does somehow stay that she wouldn't come for him next if she were to win HOH. But um, Taylor talks to Turner, and she appreciates him for taking a stand the way he did in his speech, which I cannot wait to see tonight. I know the gist of what he said, but I don't know yet what his words were, and that's what I really want to see. And she swears to him that she has his back now, and you know, of course she would. Why wouldn't she? He mentions that he was bullied at school and at home. So, he was able to sympathize. And honestly, I'm not sure how much I believe all his pre-show drama anymore. I'm not saying I fully believe it's true or fully believe it's false. I'm saying I don't know. Like there is doubt in my mind now. Actions speak louder than words, and Turner's actions in the house the last few days, I've started to. My opinion of him has changed immensely, for sure. Um, so Nicole talks to Terrence. She tells him, "You're my number two in this house, and Amira's my number three." I'm like, I don't remember you ever saying a word to Terrence. I haven't seen you talk to him at all. Mostly because I've barely seen him talk to anybody. He's kind of laid low for most of the season so far. But it's like, you haven't really done much with him. And like she's got it in her head that she's the swing vote. Like the other 10 votes besides her, it's 5 versus 5. And she's just like, oh my god, it's all up to me. Oh, all the pressure. Like she has serious main character disorder. She thinks she's the main character, but she really isn't. Kyle and Turner, they talk about Alyssa, and they're talking about how Kyle isn't trying to lead her on, but she gets jealous when he talks to Taylor. Because of course she does. She has made it clear several times that she is super clingy and super needy. And Turner thinks that she's getting funneled information by some of the other people in the house, like Amira and Jasmine, Nicole. And Kyle says that the four biggest threats in the house are Smelvis. I mean, he doesn't say Smelvis, but I did. Nicole, Jasmine, and Alyssa. Now, I assume he means the four biggest threats after Amira. Like, Amira is basically a done deal in their mind at this point. And, unlike most people who think that everything's a done deal, they've actually put in the work to make it a done deal. They're not assuming anything. They're just like, I mean, we worked hard to make this happen, so why wouldn't it happen? So, yeah, hearing Kyle say that those are the four biggest threats, like, I would not mind seeing them be the next four to go. Mira, then Smelvis, then Nicole, then Jasmine, then Alyssa. That's the order I would do. As much as I hate Jasmine, I would not want Smelvis and Nicole in the jury. Because Amira and the next two, well, the next three evicted, I'm assuming Amira is going to be one of them. Like the first five people evicted are going to be are not going to be in the jury. They're not going to have any say on finale night. They're just going to show up, through a virtual call, say some like, yeah, that was kind of fun, and then that's it. Taylor says that Smelvis wants to have a conversation, and she says that she's ready for an apology. And I'm like, good on you for finally knowing your self worth. Honestly, Taylor, good for you. And then she talks to Brittany about how he and Nicole need to be next. Brittany says she's tired of Nicole thinking she's a threat because, Nicole's going on and on about how she's some comp threat, but she hasn't won anything yet. Like, even when Jasmine won HOH, it was the two-part competition, and like they all did the first part in pairs. Nicole went against Monty. Monty was trying to throw it, but Nicole just couldn't do it. So Monty finally just ended up doing it to just move the show along. So Nicole has nothing resembling a win yet in this house. Just saying. And she tells Taylor that Jasmine said on night one that Taylor isn't a girl's girl. And I'm like, yes, Brittany, use your blabbermouth powers for good. Like this is some information that you really should be giving up. And Taylor mentions that in the blow up she had with Smelvis, he said, "Don't talk to me until finale night." Like, oh, dude, you are gonna struggle to find work after this show is over. Oh, he is. No one is gonna want anything to do with him. No one who watches this show is going to attend any of his Elvis tribute shows. But Taylor just says, America sees the truth. And we do, Taylor. We do. And she thinks it'll be ugly for him when he gets out. Oh, you don't know the half of it. Also, get nobody wants Smelvis trending. Haha. Oh, we'll see what we can do. Sorry. Nicole is talking about how she wants to do the amazing race with Amira. And it's like, she really thinks she's got a lot of opportunities coming her way after this. She thinks that people watching this show will want to see her on anything ever again. And mm-mm. They're not going to bring two pre Big Brother jurors, pre jurors from Big Brother. They're not going to bring two of them to the Amazing Race. No one would be interested. And this is a comment I made on Twitter, and someone told me that it was a great comment. So I made sure to copy it on my phone so I didn't forget it. Her entitlement is as sickening as it is undeserved. Because it is. Nicole just thinks everything's coming her way. She thought that by going on the block with Taylor and then Taylor going, since she would be without Festy Bestie, that she would get an advantage. It is not clear what the surviving Festy Bestie will get next week. Julie did hint that something would happen, but she didn't say it like some kind of reward or advantage. Like we don't know. I mean, I don't think it'll be a punishment, but she really seems to think it's just going to be like something amazing that's going to be game changing. Sorry. When I talk too much, my throat gets all scratchy. I probably should have muted the mic for that. I'm sorry. That was an ugly one. But yeah, she just thinks that it's all going to work out for her, and like I don't know. I don't know where she got this kind of entitlement. And she's still convinced at this point Amira's going to stay, and they're going to make it to the end together. So she's delusional in multiple ways. Oh yeah, this one got me. Amira is talking to Alyssa, Brittany, and Jasmine about votes. And of course, Brittany being there means that it's going to get ratted out. But sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry. So Brittany being there in this chat means that the leftovers have someone on the inside. And Alyssa says that she thinks the vote is going to be unanimous because they don't want to be on the wrong side of Amira. Who cares? What has Amira done to earn a side? I mean, the most she has won is that she did win the first part of the week 2 HOH competition, the one Nicole couldn't. But it's like, what has Amira done to earn this kind of reputation in the house? That she's just formidable and untouchable. Let me tell you something. If I'm on Big Brother and I get the sense that someone in that house is just untouchable and like no one would dare make a move against them, that's who I'm going for first. Like you got to work, put in the work in this house. Like you can't just sit back and relax. You can't just lay back and say, "I didn't think Big Brother was going to be this easy," which Amira said the day before ending up on the block by surprise. So I'm just like, Alyssa, what does Amira have on you that you have to talk her up this hard? Oh boy, this was another bad one. Smelvis talks to Taylor about their blowup. And he talks for a long time. He says a lot of things to her to clear the air, cool things down. He says a lot of things. But you want to know one word he never said? Sorry. Man couldn't stop talking, but he couldn't say sorry. Because that's who he is. That is who he is. He went on all this bullcrap about how he doesn't get along with alpha guys. But what I hate about all these guys who claim to be alphas is that they never take any responsibility. They never apologize because it'll make them look weak. But to me, the inability to say sorry, 2 syllables, 5 letters, the inability to say that, the inability to make that combination of sounds come out of your mouth makes you pathetically weak to me. I wanted to say something else beginning with W, but I'll settle for wuss, lol. Because you said that wuss. Yeah, well, yeah, he is a wuss. Here's another W word. He's a wiener. I don't respect anything about this man, and I never will. But Taylor, she is so much more mature and forgiving and graceful than me. Because she says to the camera that she does believe he's a good guy. He was in the wrong to speak to her the way that he did, but she doesn't believe people should be defined by their worst moment, and she doesn't want us to hate him. If this was one moment, and if he had said sorry, I could have gone along that train of thought. But he didn't say sorry, and he has said a lot of horrible things behind her back, and just in general, he says really disgusting things about women because he has a very, very questionable view on women. And with all due respect, Taylor, you aren't seeing as much as we are. We're seeing the full picture of him, and it is an ugly picture. So, with if you'll forgive me, Taylor, I'm going to hate him. I just am. And I also have written down here that Brittany told Kyle about how the female alliance is called the Girls, and Brittany's rat powers have really been able to thrive. I mean, she's finally able to tell the right people the right information, and she wanted the right people to be the women. She wanted to work with the women more than the men, but the women have excluded her almost as much as they have Taylor. They made her feel like a leftover. So she fell in with the leftovers. Now, this one, like all of these, I've been going in order, but this one I say for last because I really wanted to end on it. Uh, Turner is in the HOH room. He's talking to the camera, and he admits that a week ago he didn't like Taylor or Brittany, but like the more he's actually gotten to know them, of course, his opinion has changed, and he feels that those were thoughts fed to him by the other side of the house. And just started realizing like how trippy that is. Like they can really get in your head like that. And I wanted to end on that because like that's just part of what he said. But just between that and taking a stand in his speech, standing up for Taylor, being the first person to openly do so. Like Michael and Brittany, I know they've wanted to, but they've been afraid it would affect their game. Turner was the one. Turner got into a position of power, and he took that stand. And just the amount of growth and self realization he has had is very impressive. And, I was saying right away, this guy is not going to do Massachusetts proud. I'm from Massachusetts just like him. He's finally starting to he's finally starting to do us proud. And I'm very grateful to him for that. I thought this week was going to be excruciating. I thought this was going to be the end of my time watching this season. Like I thought I would have to think really hard about if I even wanted to watch next year. But Turner's HOH week, it's been everything and more. Like I didn't think an HOH from somebody I liked could go this good. And it's from someone I hated before he won. And even partially into his reign. But when you wake up, you wake up. All right. That's all my notes. Now, now it's time to scroll Twitter, see what's happened since I've been talking. I've been talking already for 59 minutes and 6 seconds. Although, if you include my screw up beforehand, I've been talking for about 70 minutes now. Sorry, I haven't really been talking. I've been seeing other stuff because my whole timeline isn't just Big Brother, and some of it has been like you know. I'm sorry for going quiet for that long. I shouldn't do that. I should have just watched a guy look at his phone. I'm sorry, but yeah, I haven't really. It's nothing on my main timeline. At least not that I haven't already seen, other than, just more Nicole and Smelvis trash talk about Taylor because they've learned nothing and will never learn anything after they're out. Yeah, all right. I guess it's a slow day. It's 1:26 here, so it's 10:26 in the Big Brother house. They're all probably still just waking up. Oh, okay. Well, this is one example of what Nicole and Smelvis were talking about. Nicole says, "I don't think we did anything wrong. I just hate hearing her talk to you in that way and say you know how this is going to look." He says, "I would feel this way towards any race." Yeah. Nicole says, "The issue is not that she's a black woman. The issue is that she's a effing bully." No, she's not. You are. Because none of you shut up about her. They'll never get it. Okay? They're gonna come out of that house probably, I mean, hopefully soon, and they're gonna be like they're gonna be confronted with everything they said and did in that house, and no one is gonna get through to them. Ever. Oh yeah. Like case in point, Paloma. She hasn't really taken any of the comments into she hasn't taken any of it to heart. Like when on Instagram posted my face when I realized I've been labeled a racist and vilified after leaving the BB house. But I mean, like, maybe next time don't be so unnecessarily mean. Well, this was kind of funny. After talking to the women for a while, when they left Brittany alone, she just looks at the camera and she just mouths the words, "Not a chance." She's like, "Mm-mm." And this is what she looked like. She just like, "Nope." I mean, we talk about how good the leftovers has been for Taylor, and it has been, but it's been pretty good for Brittany too. Because if she wasn't able to get in this group, she'd probably be out fairly soon. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I'm so happy with everything that has happened. Like honestly, even if somehow Terrence does end up leaving, it won't change the fact that the power dynamic in the house did shift, and the people who thought they had all the power scrambled. And if Amira does end up surviving, then we'll see how she's able to maneuver her way through the game. I really don't know how the vote is gonna fall out. I mean, how it's gonna go, how the votes are gonna fall. I mean, of course, the leftovers. 6 votes right there. It's all of them minus Turner because he's HOH. HOH can't vote unless it's a tie, and there's 11 votes, so it won't be a tie. So, I mean, it should be 6 votes for Amira to go, but there's always that chance. You know, you don't know until it happens. But even so, between the other 5 people voting um, who are not in the leftovers, we don't know for sure how they're going to vote. I mean, Nicole is not sure how she's going to vote. I mean, first she's saying Amira, then she's saying Terrence. I don't even think she really knows at this point. Indy, I can never tell what she's going to do. Uh, Alyssa and Jasmine, I think they're going to vote to evict Terrence. What if Alyssa or Indy turned on Amira and voted her out? Well, that'd be interesting. Like, let's say all 6 of the leftovers that are voting vote Amira out. Alyssa joins, boom, 7-4. If Indy joins, if Indy also joins, then that's 8-3. I mean, anonymous, not anonymous, unanimous votes are kind of like, you know, mm, they're not that exciting all the time. I mean, with Pooch, it was kind of funny just because he volunteered himself, and they really did get the whole house against him. Because of Amira, you know, she did make that happen. Just too bad Turner was Pooch's best friend. Like, here's what I think about Amira. I really think she had some amazing game sense, and she she could have been a serious contender, but her Achilles heel was her jealousy towards Taylor, and for thinking that she had the whole thing on luck. Shame she's turned into Paloma version 2. Well, not quite. I mean, Amira did break down in tears when she went up, but she hasn't gone insane. I I see why Amira got cast. I see why they saw potential in her to be a cutthroat player because she is pretty cold. But it just didn't translate into good gameplay all the time. Like it did against Pooch, but I don't know. I think maybe she got cocky at the fact that she pulled that off. And it came back to bite her. Oh, yeah. And this is what I'm going to end on. On Monday, after the VO meeting, all that fallout, everyone's going crazy. Everyone's freaking out. Like, what are we going to do now? And this was Taylor as all of that was happening. She's just chilling in the backyard, totally unbothered. She's like, I've already stressed enough in this game. It's your turn. I'm going to relax. Yeah, I'm gonna end it there. So yes, thank you, Scarlet Rain 88 for joining me. Thank you, Estuary, for dropping by. Thank you to anyone else who dropped by. It says I only have one viewer right now, but if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. And that will do it for this stream. We got the veto episode tonight. We're gonna finally get to see the veto meeting. And then tomorrow is the eviction, and it's looking pretty good that Amira is going to go home. I'm going to say 95% chance that Amira goes home. 95% chance. All right. Peace out. See you next time.